everybody. Welcome to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Brownie.
Oh, Chris is with his famous legendary pause.
Yep.
But you know who else is?
Dramatic pause. What's that from?
I don't know.
It's Futurama, Calculine.
I don't know if I've... Oh, yes.
Yes. You know what also reminds me of, I think I've brought it up before, but the episode of The Office when Plop and, I think it's Plop, tries to get Aaron to do the newsreel in sexy clothing. Do you remember that episode?
Yep, I do.
That's what it reminds me of, because then Andy comes along and he's like, when Aaron goes to do her sign off, Andy's like, no, you need a dramatic pause. And so she's sitting there and I'm Aaron. And it's like literally 15, 20 seconds of her pausing and Andy's like, that's perfect.
See, Chris, that's
super funny.
That's your spirit
See,
animal.
I know what I'm doing.
Yes, you know what you're doing.
I like how we started this immediately with a tangent.
Well, I was going to say, you know what else is famous and legendary?
Yes.
Is our guest, Matt.
Whoa, legendary. All right. Thank you.
So we're super excited to have Matt on today. We know that we've had Keith on in the past. Everybody's met Keith, and we've talked about Keith's movie in like multiple spaces and everything, and we're super excited to have you on. So you would tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce,
Oh, where do I begin? Oh, my God. Huge pop culture fan myself. I've been a Ghostbusters fan my entire life. You can see the iconic logo. And then I became a paranormal investigator like way back when, and that was fun. And then I eventually wound up becoming a Ghostbuster myself. And we have a group called Ghostbusters North, and we go around. We've got everything. We've got the jumpsuits. We've got the Ecto 1. We've got the proton packs. We've got the PKAs. We've got everything. And we do parades and birthday parties and all kinds of stuff. I think I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
No, that's totally cool.
That's kind of what I always wanted to do was that, and become a filmmaker as well. Along the way somewhere, Keith and I wound up meeting, and thus a bond was formed.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
So you met Keith, and then he asked you to be in his film.
Yes.
And you are like the star of the film, right? I mean,
yes.
You are.
Yes. He is Gravedigger Dave.
You are Gravedigger
Title
Dave.
character.
Yeah, you're the title character.
Doesn't get much higher than that.
Right.
Hi, Mark.
It was really fun for me to see, how you responded to your appearances and everything. I mean, you went down to this, the airing of the movie, and you were dressed up in character. You're on the cover of the DVD. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Dream achieved right there. That's all I ever wanted. Yeah, to star in a horror movie that wasn't one that I made myself. Like, that's kind of cheating to put myself on a poster.
Right. Yeah. Filming in and acting in and written by and
directed by.
So did you have any like cool reactions? Like, were the fans when they were leaving the movie theater, when they saw you, did you have some fun reactions there?
Oh, it was great. It was just nonstop, like picture taking and stuff beforehand and a little bit after. And the best part, though, was after the premiere when we all kind of scattered and did our own thing. Like, I stayed in character the rest of the day, and we went across the street to get some lunch, and whilst there, I was just kind of walking around a little bit, and there was a guy standing off in the corner kind of like watching me. And when I came by his table, he got up and he was like, "Sir, could you please come over to my table? I'm so glad you're here. My son wanted to see you, and he wants your autograph on his poster."
Cool.
Yeah. And that was like the coolest thing ever. I was like,
is
wow,
super cool.
awesome. And like the little kid was all excited to see me and stuff. And I was like, wow, I don't know if Gravedigger Dave is like, I don't know if he's for kids, but that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
That's super cool.
That's amazing.
So stories like that is just what's fun to me about, so we started doing this last May, doing the podcast. And because of like getting to know Chris and getting to know Keith and now you, it's been fun for me to learn how much of a independent film and production scene there actually is in Duluth that I didn't know existed. So when you hear about like somebody wanting to get your autograph and seeing you in independent film, it's like, think about it from a fan's perspective. They don't get to meet people from Hollywood very often. So when you get have a movie that they got to see that was local and then see you and want your autograph, it's like, well, we can, bring that little piece of that environment back home. But you mentioned Ghostbusters North. That sounds like a really fun group. Do you know how long have you been doing that?
It's been about 5 years now.
Okay.
We kind of started off in our own separate little tangents, to be honest. Adam Norrie and I, we've known each other for a while. We met in 2006, 2007, and he was always a paranormal investigator, and that's how we wound up meeting through there. We both lived up on the range at the time, and both found out we were huge Ghostbusters fans, and we both independently had our own jumpsuits and everything. And one day he was asked, because he has the Ecto-mobile, his daily driver is the Ecto 6.
Cool.
And so he was asked one day by one of his friends, would you please come to my son's birthday party with your Ecto? And he asked me to join. And then, so we decided to do this whole scene.
Right.
And the parents had planned everything out with us. They're like, oh, there's going to be a ghost running around and he's going to deflate the bouncy house. There was a big bouncy house.
Oh, cool.
And you guys have to come in and save the day. The kids have to call you on the phone, and they had this whole thing planned.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we filmed the whole thing. So then, we look back at it and we're like, I think we found our calling here.
That's super
yeah.
cool.
So ever since then, we've been Ghostbusters North, and we've joined, other people have joined us, and we're getting a little larger, and we're spreading out a little bit more. And I couldn't be happier. I just want to do this for the rest of my life.
That's super cool. So when we're Chris posts this, anything that you want to throw link to, we'll put in the linked up in the description and everything.
Yeah,
and
100%.
people can check out whatever you want. So you let Chris know, we'll get that there. But what's really fun is when you do that, you could have just shown up, but whoever had the idea, and even if it was the parents, to just have them call you and then have a problem and then have a solution, that whole thing, it just builds, the realness of it. Makes it really fun.
It turns into a genuine experience as opposed to just oh yeah, there's a couple of guys that were Ghostbusters there. It's we had to call the Ghostbusters.
Right. Well, I could just imagine being a kid and then, you're playing in the bouncy house and then you go, cake is served, everyone runs over and, and then all of a sudden you look over and it's just deflated or something. And it's well, it could be a ghost. Who are you going to call? It's make the kids go through the motions. That whole thing just sounds really, really fun. So you do birthday parties and have you had... do you have a paranormal story you want to share with us?
Oh man. Oh, there's so many. I could fill a whole vidcast on just paranormal stories. Oh my Lanta.
That's what I say.
Kara says, oh my Lanta.
I do say, oh my Lanta.
Well, like-minded. Good. Great minds think alike. Let's be besties. Demolition Man handshake.
Yes.
Let's see. Where should I begin with the ghost story stuff? I guess. Okay, so I could tell you about something that happened the night that I met Adam Norrie.
Cool.
It was one of my first real paranormal experiences. We met in the Buell Cemetery, which is called the Lakeview Cemetery, which is uber super haunted because there's a little section where a bunch of people had died in a hospital or something mysterious, and they don't have proper names. They don't have regular markers. They just have numbers.
Ooh.
So they say that is the mental health section, and those people are unidentified. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens there, and that's where I got my first ever EVP in that section.
No way.
Yes. All I asked was, "Are you happy?" And you hear a little, "Yes."
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe I could send you the audio if you
That
Creepy.
I literally have goosebumps right now just from the story.
Isn't there a place isn't there an island off in New York that's kind of got the same thing? It was a mental health island or something, and then there was people would die, and it was kind of more or less just a mass grave out there or something?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a common story for many a place.
Okay.
But yeah, New York, I can imagine that one would be huge.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't remember where, I think it was, I follow a group called Atlas Obscura on Facebook, and it's got a lot of stuff like that on it. a lot of old history stuff. I think that came across as one of the articles, and I read it, and it was like, oh, that's sad and creepy.
Kara's throwing down some sick ghost para knowledge over there that I never knew. But the one that I heard, I'm gonna butcher it ridiculously horribly, is there's the phantom light somewhere in Wisconsin. That's like
the Paulding light.
Yeah, Paulding
yes,
light.
I've investigated that one.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is such a weird phenomenon. No one knows why this thing happens, where it came from.
Right.
And sometimes it'll be there and sometimes it won't.
Right.
It's just like almost every night it'll just randomly show up, and it's always in the same like area.
Spot,
like,
right?
You know where it'll be, yeah. And people will gather there every night to watch. And, like I said, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But it will just slowly, it does a similar thing every night. It'll just slowly kind of appear. And it'll get closer and closer until it gets about to where the people are, and then it'll go out. And there's no scientific explanation for it. No one knows why it gets closer or why it, like the intensity of it will grow and change as well. And the colors will grow and change. And it's like, what could that even be? It's not a reflection from something. And if you get close to it, it disappears, but then it'll reappear behind you.
Oh,
and so it's not from a certain like source, and people have been investigating it for decades, and there's no explanation whatsoever. There are theories as to a certain ghost that it could be tied to.
Right.
I think some people say that it's the ghost of a lantern, like some guy that used to, walk up and down the railroads, but you hear that old yarn all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, that is exactly what I had experienced, the same thing. And it wasn't as bright on the night that I saw it, but it was there.
Right.
Like, have you looked at the history of the area and, like, I don't know, found any weird deaths or anything?
I didn't get too deep into the research of it, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, there's got to be something wacky with that area.
Because it's by a train track or something, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah. And so what I've read is people will walk towards it, and it's the same thing. They'll get close, it'll go away, and then as they walk by, then it'll be behind them or whatever. So it's like people even try to track it down, and they can't track it down. Creepy. So it's just a paranormal. That one stuck with me.
It's like it has a mind of its own, which is the weirdest thing in and of itself.
Right.
If it's just a reflection from something that's predictable, that's something you can run tests on. This, it does whatever it wants.
Right. That's really, really cool.
Oh, man.
It's fun to see like your passion about paranormal and ghost busting and stuff like that. You must have grew up and you love the movies, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Ghostbusters was life for me. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was one of the few movies I had as a kid. We recorded off of the TV, and every day I would demand to watch it. So like it is like ingrained in my brain, and it just I mean, that's everything.
That's awesome. So I forgot his name. Somebody's got the car, right?
Yes.
And then you guys said you have like the full garb and everything too. And so you've done birthday parties. Wait, what else have you done? You rattled off an awesome list at the beginning.
Oh, we do parades all the time.
Parades,
that's our big
cool.
thing is all summer long, we're usually running around doing parades. We have a bunch on the range. In fact, just this last winter was the first time that we got to do the Christmas City of the North parade in Duluth.
Yeah.
And
we high-fived.
yes, we did. Yes. And Keith was there, and the whole creative department was there, and we did, we high-fived people. We did the Ghostbusters dance, walking down, Superior Street there, and we got a lot of exposure through that, and people who didn't even know we existed, suddenly there we were.
Right.
And the station, even against my will, did a story against us. I say against my will because I've been pitching this story for years and no one's ever listened until now.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, you guys are something. Let's do like a whole thing. And so that was cool. So I had to provide some footage of like archival stuff from us over the years. And
cool.
Yeah, good
That's pretty
old
neat.
Christmas City, the North.
Yeah, it's like, so they must have seen the reaction of how many people loved your group as you were walking, and they're like, "Oh, these guys! Look at how many people they're making happy," or whatever. Did people yell out like who you're gonna call, or like just slogan?
All day, every day. We're running out of things to say in response because people want to hear us say Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Every now and then we'll throw something weird.
Yeah, just to catch them off guard.
Yeah, like, oh, somebody else. That's a line from Casper, where Dan Aykroyd made a quick little, you know what.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you got Ghostbusters North, and then we obviously said you were in Keith's movie, but you had mentioned like cinematography or filmmaking. What kind of like personal projects along those lines have you done, or have you got into, or?
I'm excited about this.
Oh man, I have a long checkered past in the film. Dealing with film. Well, I always like made my own films like way back in the day, like in the early 2000s, without any film training whatsoever. I just got a camcorder, and like my friends and I would run around and just film stupid things that we were doing. A lot of little Ghostbuster short films and stuff. Yeah, like you guys. Yep. And it wasn't until I got to college that some of my friends got together and said we should make our own full-length feature.
Cool.
And we did. It took a while though. And it was about ghosts. It was kind of in the vein of Ghostbusters. And it finally got released 5 years ago, called Spooked in Bridgewater. And that was a big triumph for me to get my own full-length feature off the ground.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
See, now like that's the first time that I've even heard of this movie.
Oh wow.
Where can I watch it? How do I watch it?
It's only available through DVDs right now.
Perfect. So I'm gonna meet up, and I'm gonna get one from you.
100%.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. That's what I like. See, that's that whole, thing. You get to meet the person who actually made it or created the thing. That's really, really cool. So that was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then you got to work on Keith's movie. How was it not having to
think about all the stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And just act or whatever,
What a weight off my, oh my God. It was so refreshing to be able to just appear in a movie and not have to worry about the technicalities of it and the editing and the directing and this shot and that. Like I only needed to concentrate on what to throw up on the screen through the character. And plus it takes me forever to edit. So the fact that Keith can just lightning fast throw everything together and just make it look right. That was so exciting to me. Like, I'd like to do a little bit more of that.
Right. That's really cool. So that's same relationship that Chris and I have. Chris is very fast, and I am archaically slow. Because my intervals of which I sit down and edit are far and few between as it is. So when I sit down to work on something, it's like, I got to relearn the program and do the editing. It's like, what am I doing here? And then I call him up anyways, and he remotes in.
Yeah, I'm just editing by wire.
He's like, oh, I could tell you, but let me show you. And he'll show me, and it does stick. So that's kind of fun. How long do you think? How long did you take? Because Keith was in charge of everything, but how many was it? Like a year? It was over a year, wasn't it? You worked on it.
I'd say.
Or was your
so.
parts?
I mean, it was. We did it in chunks. We would do, it was 3 or 4 main sessions where we got together and we'd shoot certain scenes that he had figured out at that point. And then he kind of, put it together and see what more needed to be done with what content he was getting. And I think he was still getting content at that point and trying to figure out what order to put the stories in.
Right.
So we shot the head and the tail first. Cause that we all knew what for sure was going to happen. And then, then it was just a matter of determining what bridges the gap between each thing. And that was a whole thing in and of itself, and a little bit of VO stuff. And so it was less than a year, I'd say. We started shooting officially, I think it was June or July 2019. And then we wrapped it up in December 2019.
That is impressive. That's actually way faster than I thought.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Because it was like I had met, like I said, not met Chris. I met Chris long time
Second
ago.
grade.
But I met Keith probably around that time because Chris called me up. We started doing this in May, and then Chris called me and told me to come down and take a tour of, the studio and where Chris works. And that's where I got to meet everybody, and I got to meet Keith. And Nick, who I loved Nick because Chris always picked on him for being young. So it was like within 30 seconds, I cracked a young joke, and then everybody in the office laughed. They're like, "You'll fit in here just fine." And now Nick's in Vegas.
Yep.
He's gone. But it was really fun. So that was like, I'd already met Keith to know that he had, and he had told me a little bit about that he was working on a project, but to know that he started and at least filming, is probably written and thought out way before then. But that's really neat,
Do you want to get into the history a little bit of the character of Gravedigger Dave for us? Because he sort of extends beyond just this.
Oh, yes. It's way beyond the movie. So Gravedigger Dave, actually, he's been around for almost 3 years now. So this kind of, let's see, where should I even begin with this? Well, Keith and I met when I first started at the station in 2016. And it was about sometime in 2017 that he was kind of telling me his idea of like making shorts. And I remember he invited me to help make the one short, the Take Your Non-Vaporous Apparition to Work Day. But I have such a radically different schedule that I like that's when I'm basically getting up for work is when he wanted to shoot it. And that was one of the big shorts in Gravedigger Dave, the movie. And so then he was kind of telling me his plan. He's like, yeah, someday I'd like to make an anthology film, and have like a Crypt Keeper type, and we'll see where it goes. And I'd like to make another short film with, a guy who's like a Beetlejuice type. And he kind of told me a little bit about what it was, and then asked if I'd be interested in doing just a little short film with him. And that was the first one. We shot that in 2017, and it came out in 2018. And that got huge reception. That was one of his most well-received shorts. So then we decided to do a second one from there. And then he just had so much content at that point. I was like, well, obviously, let's string it all together. That was all his brainchild. He'd been working on all these shorts for, I think, over 5 years now. He'd been working on all these different shorts, and then that was just the mode.
That's really neat. Yeah. So it's like when the anthology movie came out, he didn't have to worry about casting the main because it's like, it kind of evolved into what it was. That's really, really neat. That's super cool. I'm excited. I missed the premiere. I was out of town. I missed it by a day. So I will be watching it because it is available.
Yeah, available to stream online at Amazon.
Yes. How exciting is that? That's what blew up my morning. With, just notification. He says, yeah. I'm pretty excited.
Cool. For sure, a link to that will be in the description.
Oh,
absolutely. You got to check it out. The other thing, too, is so we've had a guy by the name of Justin on, and Justin's channel has been really fun. And Cinephile Studios. And so Justin does movie reviews. And when I got to sit down and talk with Justin, we met him at DuluthCon, which was our little convention we had in Duluth last October, which you'll have to come and make an appearance.
I was supposed to be there this last time. Yeah. We had Boo at the Zoo at the same time, and it was a whole thing.
We had one guy from Ghostbusters Twin Cities.
Oh.
We had one of those guys come up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You don't happen to remember offhand? I know all the guys. No one told me that they were there.
What was his name? He was the only one that showed up. He was tall,
and we ran into
glasses.
him at GalaxyCon, Chris.
Yeah. He was at GalaxyCon. He was.
I can go review the tapes.
There's
he was the one we sat
There's dozens of them.
What's that?
He was the one we sat and interviewed,
and he showed us around everything.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, so I know where the footage is. I'll be able to at least tell you the name on his uniform.
Okay.
But that was what was fun because his backpack lit up.
It wasn't Tim or Steve, was it?
This is we're going back to like November. I can't think that far back.
Sorry. Okay.
But so anyway, so we met Justin at DuluthCon, and he was a big supporter of DuluthCon. And then we reached out to him and said, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast. So what's been really fun is Justin is really passionate about movies, and I'm talking very passionate, which is really fun. And
so passionate, he's watched the Star Wars Holiday Special
multiple times.
Multiple times. When he was on the podcast, he's got, and for me, I was a big physical media person. I liked owning physical media. And then I got burnt on the HD, DVD, Blu-ray thing, and we've talked about that before. So now I just buy digital movies. I just buy them, and it's like, okay, I've got my my digital media library. But Justin's old school. He's got Laserdisc copies of Star Wars.
Oh.
He's got VHS, all the editions.
Yeah,
And-
if we give me a point up there, there's Justin's podcast right up there. If you want to see his entire collection of the original trilogy. Actually, no, it's all of them.
He's got all of them.
Oh,
yeah.
it's ridiculous! Like just a mountain of
And then there was
copies
the
of Star
cool
Wars.
revelation that Kara had picked one of the movies he had was actually fit in with other boxes he had, or whatever.
Yeah, it's part of a box set.
How
Yeah.
did you
character
guys not notice that?
Well,
I didn't own any of them, so
just saying.
what was
I'm busy over here.
so what's fun is if you join Justin's Patreon, it's just a couple bucks a month. Every month you can ask him to review a movie. And so what we'll have to do is once I get my hands on your movie, that you made, I see a movie in Justin's future. So if you're watching this, Justin, we will give you a copy, and he can do a review on it.
And he did
Please do.
Yeah,
He did do a review on Gravedigger Dave's.
he did Gravedigger Dave, but he's done. What I love about him is the movies he is willing to watch, like the most random, obscure movie that people, it's Patreon, right? So, I mean, it's like they're paying customers.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited because then, Justin will probably actually really appreciate your movie.
I think I saw his review for Gravedigger Dave, actually. He's the guy who's talking about Macaulay Culkin falling off the rocks.
Right?
Yes.
It's totally him.
Okay.
I love his breakdown of movies. It's very
I like that they're concise. They're not like 30-minute long,
Right.
like video documentaries about this thing. Like he just gets to the point without like spoiling it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super cool. So
This section brought to you by Cinephile Studios.
but what's fun is again all the people that we've got to meet in doing this, and so it'd be a fun time too. Is like having you and Justin on at the same time and just sit and talk movies and tap into Justin's movies because I'm sure he's seen some awesome paranormal movies that you've probably seen too that you guys could cross talk about, which is really fun. But it's he became my friend on Facebook, and he posts a lot of throwback pictures, and it's like, man, he's showing off when he's like, oh, graduated high school, and let's just say years after me.
Yes.
It's like, oh man, Justin.
Yeah, I work with some people that like I graduated high school when they were in like the 3rd grade.
Right. Well, think about how much you change from like, let's say 15 years old to even 25 years old, how different you look. And he's had his channel over 5 years. So you go back and you watch his beginning videos. He's still pretty young. Like you can see the change in him from his beginning videos to his later videos. So that's kind of it's his like.
We haven't gotten to that point yet. We haven't hit the old decrepit stage.
Yeah, right,
Rise of the
right.
podcast.
So it's just been kind of fun. So he's been a great guest, but as soon as you said that you had a movie and a DVD, he would just probably die to get his hands on a copy of it. So
$85, Justin.
right.
This is a limited edition.
It's a limited edition.
Autographed.
Yeah, you're gonna have to autograph.
Totally autographed, yes.
So that's super cool.
So speaking of local, again, just because I'm a little bit more familiar, I would be very interested to hear about the history of Ecto Cooler Resurgence.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, how did I not talk about this yet?
That's why I'm here.
Thank you, Ronnie. Yes, this is the thing that I've been working on for a long time. Kind of like how Keith's been working on Gravedigger Dave for a long time. Same. I've been filming this for it's been over 4 years now. Do we need a little recap on what Ecto Cooler is?
Let's do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so Ecto Cooler, everyone knows it's the drink that has Slimer on the front.
Got it. Yep.
And it's
Love Slimer.
Ghostbusters themed. It's through High C. It was just a staple of the 90s. It came out in 1989 to promote Ghostbusters 2. A lot of people don't know that Ecto Cooler existed 20 years before it was Ecto Cooler. It was a different name. It was like Citrus Cooler Drink.
Huh.
And it came out in 1969 or the late 60s. Yes!
For
Blew your
real?
mind, didn't I?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I never knew that.
These are the things you're going to find out in the documentary. So it was that. It changed its name a little bit. And then since Coke and Columbia Pictures and Sony are pretty tight, it was time for them to release the drink. And there was a whole history with High C and Coca-Cola and Sony and Ghostbusters. They had been partnering for at least 2 years before Ecto Cooler even came out. So they just took Citrus Cooler and called it Ecto Cooler and put Slimer on the box, and suddenly their least popular flavor became overnight their most sensational flavor, and it became the number one for years.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I remember absolutely only thinking of, when you talk about that drink, the one with Slimer on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's the only one I remember.
Oh, wow.
Because it was like with the orange and the green contrast of like the content. Just remember getting it and drinking it and loving it. But it's probably because of Slimer.
Yeah. That was the thing.
The power of marketing and stuff. So, all right. So you gave us a little background on it, right?
Yes. So that kept going, and you mentioned the fact that you remember that Slimer was on it.
Yep.
Well, the downturn of the drink was that eventually a rule was passed where Coca-Cola decided they weren't going to use cartoon characters to market drinks anymore. So they had to take Slimer off the box, and as soon as that happened, overnight, like, the sales shot down.
Crazy.
And it just, like, no one remembered it anymore. And this was like the late 90s when Ghostbusters, nothing was really happening with it anymore. Right. So it just kind of faded into obscurity, and they changed the name. And it changed the name a couple of times after the fact. And then they just stopped making it. And it was like the saddest day.
Right.
Yeah. So they stopped making it in 2007. And it didn't come back until 2016, when this new Ghostbusters kind of thing was hitting theaters.
Yes.
And they wanted to promote it with High C once again. So that is when officially I started filming the documentary, was to see me reunited with my favorite drink of all time. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
That's awesome. So that's still in the works?
That's still in the works, yes. Because the whole backbone of the documentary is I bought so much Ecto Cooler when it came back that I didn't know what to do with it. And they only made it until December of 2016 and stopped. So I had a mountain of it, and the expiration date was looming. And there was no way I was going to be able to drink it all, so I decided to freeze it all.
Cool.
And since it's frozen, I've been able to keep it fresh for years and years to come. And so every time I thaw out a case for a special occasion, we get footage of that. And the audience will be able to follow along, and I'll have a countdown ticker on the screen to show how many cases are left. And it'll be, yes, it's one of those things. So it's kind of like Boyhood. Right. It goes for years and years, and there's eventually an end game plan, but who knows when that's going to happen.
Right.
So how many cases do you have? Or is that, can't say?
At present, more than a dozen still.
Okay.
Yes. So
how did you start out with?
I started out with over 100.
Holy
dang. Yes.
And that's in powdered form, right?
Powder?
No, this is the actual
full juice boxes. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We'll
10 packs. 10 packs.
Do you have a trailer online?
Oh yeah,
we'll link to the trailer. We'll link up in the card, and we'll also link it down in the description. This is one of the best trailers for anything I've ever seen.
Oh wow.
It's like just like legit, like the subject matter, your passion for it, and like how like absurd and cool it is. It just sort of hits across the board. So watch that trailer. Get excited for this, guys.
That's
circa 2020 something. This movie will be out, and you'll be able to watch it.
My question is, how big is your freezer?
Just watch the trailer, Jeremy. Let's not spoil it. Just watch the trailer.
I will watch the trailer. Now I kind of wish I would have watched it beforehand. That's super cool. Well, that gets me really excited. Yeah, so I remember High C was also sold in powdered form at one point, was it not? Or no? Or is it always in a square?
I think they experimented with it.
You might be thinking Tang.
Well, Tang's got the monkey, right? It's a kick in the glass.
Yeah.
And then was High C.
Your beverage knowledge is ridiculous.
Well, and then there was the commercials where there was like an orange wave that would sweep through the house. Was that High C, or was that
Kool-Aid, maybe?
Is that cool?
I think that was Kool-Aid.
Capri Sun also
Well, Capri
did
Sun, they would
that.
do the Silver Surfer.
Oh, that's true.
The kids would drink it.
Yeah, the
become
whole
metallic.
T1000 characters. That was scary to me.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to drink a damn T1000. You want to drink Slimer.
Well, so if you want to know why they were probably, why like New York and all these marketing to children stuff comes out, I guess I'm a living thing of how ingrained that it was. Injected into me during my developmental years, and it never left. So it's like if I drink High C, or not High C, if I drink Capri Sun, you turn into the Terminator. If you, mix up some Tang, a monkey comes and kicks you, or mean to you, or your parents, or your little sister. And then I remember Dunkaroos.
Yes.
They're coming back.
Yes, those were announced to have. They're officially coming back this summer. Yes,
I am so excited. Like my level of excited for Dunkaroos.
I mean, it is ridiculous. And then like the zebra fruit gum, which is still around.
Oh, yeah.
But boy, does that stuff go bland quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
that's
like
the
you chew
meme.
twice and it's
0.3
gone.
seconds. Yeah.
But that was just everything about that gum makes me happy.
We should do a video where we actually just I'll hit a stopwatch and we'll see how fast you
Ooh. I wonder if anyone's ever done that. That's a great idea.
quantify.
Well, no, what
real
you should
sciencey.
do, what we should do is go back, find 90s commercials, say a little snippet of it, and see if you can identify what it is.
Oh,
there you go.
there's
Right?
an idea.
Right?
Can Jeremy identify the product?
Yeah.
Right. And well, then
We'll have to we'll bring you back.
Please
And
do.
we'll do-
This
then
is
we'll
my
do
world
that.
you're talking
Yes.
about.
So
Yes.
we'll do this game.
And then I just remember with Surge, they had the couch cushion mountain, and then they had all
Yes.
these kids, right? And they would
Yes.
I don't remember any of them.
Yeah,
And then they
Surge,
would
run
run
up
and
the-
just try to knock each other over parkour, and they had to get to the surge.
Yeah, it was like imagine like a landfill, Chris, on the edges, and then a couch mountain in the middle, or a couch cushion mountain, and all these kids would run. There's like one can of Surge going at the top, and the kids would get it, and you'd yell Surge, and crack it and drink it, and you
Oh,
wonder
my
why,
goodness.
and then it was like, and then
No wonder your brain is so full of 90s advertisements. You can't learn anything else.
that's what happened, But and then do you remember too, parents then my parents took it away from me because then the news station
Surge.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's bad for your heart. It'll stop your heart in 2
And then
seconds.
they came out with energy drinks.
And then
Yep.
it just became a common thing.
Yeah.
And then, luckily that's what led to the resurgence of Surge.
Right, yeah.
As well, because they're like, it's not going to kill you anymore. Well,
Right. Yep.
That'll be a whole little subcategory in the documentary as well. Talking about
Absolutely.
Surge,
That's super cool.
That's awesome.
Nostalgic is ridiculously
Yeah, as in,
powerful.
we're in prime nostalgia years.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it's half of
Everything that was our childhood is now just going to be a thing for the next 5 years.
Well, there's so many. So, I love video games, and there's so many video games that I will continue to pick up the sequels just to do nostalgia alone. And some of them hold up, and I really enjoy. And then some of them are like, I probably could have not played. Because the older you get, you got to be more selective with your time. And it's like I can't play all my favorite games anymore. All my favorite sequels, because it's like, I grew up with Halo, and then Mario.
Oh, when
and
Halo Infinite comes out, I don't care what you say, we are getting it. 10,000% we're getting it.
Kara's passionate about Halo.
That was my game.
Master Chief is probably
Halo's the best.
Yes.
My favorite is just running around with shotguns in a small space.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're using the sniper stuff, I'm dead every time.
Well, you got to find, I don't remember the map. It's the one with it's in a valley, cliffs on either
Blood
side,
Gulch?
water. Yeah, Blood Gulch. I mean, there were so many
That's
little
where Red
places.
vs. Blue is set.
Yep.
There were so many little places you could just hide with a sniper, up in little
Oh, that's
cliff,
it.
and you could just sit there and pop people off.
Kara's a camper.
Boo.
Boo.
You make
Okay.
games not fun.
Okay, back in the day, and then I got good, and I started using shotties and stuff like that.
I'll get her the shirt that says camping. It's a legit strategy.
It's,
I hate campers now, to be fair.
Okay.
You know I
Good.
hate
Good, good, good.
campers.
But it's just and then so Animal Crossing just came out again, and we've been enjoying playing Animal Crossing, and that game holds its own without needing to nostalgia buy. But I mean, it's there's so many of Sonic. Sonic was my jam. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, and there's actually a really cool. Okay, I will blow your mind a little bit or whatever. So
maybe he might know.
I know you might know it.
well, so Sonic was a really big deal because there was 2 versions
Mind
of
blown.
Sonic at the exact same time. There was the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then there was the other. So there was this a more cartoony version of it, and then it's still animated but more serious version of it.
Oh, yeah, the Saturday AM
Yeah,
show on
yes.
ABC.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
That was my jam.
And that ran. Each of those ran for 2 years, which was set and they were both equally popular, and they were both I learned all of this because of the new Sonic movie that just came out. And then I just read this little history of like how Sonic was unique to advertising. And it was kind of the same thing. It was like they wanted to make a character that you could have in video game format and TV show format, and just like how many people love Sonic. And I loved Sonic back in the day.
Same.
It was so much fun. Have you seen the new movie?
Yes, that was like one of the biggest triumphs of this year, was going to see that, because I, like everyone who saw the original trailer way back when they released it with Gangster's Paradise playing.
I know.
I was like, what is going on with this movie? Why would they make him look like a monster?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
A human monster is what Sonic looked like.
A small portion of me thinks that they did that intentionally to get outrage from people so that they could go back and fix it, so that people will go and watch it.
Right.
Oh, conspiracies.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is conspiracy theory corner over here. But it's only a small portion of me. The most of me is proud of them actually listening to people's feedback and making him look like Sonic.
Yes.
He looked horrible before. Like,
They
I
gave
remember
him
seeing
teeth?
it and
Yeah.
like...
Ugh.
It was so atrocious to me. Like even though I love Sonic so much, I was like, maybe I'll still see it, but begrudgingly.
Right.
It's like, what was somebody on to think that looks good and that people are actually gonna like that?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot, like when it comes to
room
like
full
film,
of suits.
Yeah, when it comes to film adaptations, people feel like they have to have their own stamp on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's when stuff like that happens, like the Super Mario Brothers 93.
Yeah.
Right? They're just like,
Look at the Goombas.
Yeah, look at the everything. There's
Yes.
nothing that like there's been name alone is the Super Mario Brothers.
My favorite thing was kids adaptations. It was like a meme, and it said, kids nowadays, and it showed film adaptations. So it showed Sonic and then Sonic, or even Pokemon and Pokemon, right? Which I love the original Pokemon movie, the one with Mewtwo, the one with
Fake fan.
Mewtwo. But it was like, look at Detective Pikachu, right? And then like how detailed everything is, and then they showed. This is what I had when I was a kid. It was Mario, and then the Mario adaptation.
Oh, yeah,
shows
yeah,
the Goombas.
Yeah.
And it's just and even like Yoshi was like a weird lizard thing in the movie, and
Oh, it was so sad to me that like Mario and Yoshi never, I don't think they even had screen time.
No.
Like I fully expected when they announced Mario Brothers the movie that like Mario would be on Yoshi like in the game, and he'd like use his tongue and they'd be jumping around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. But Sonic was like, I was pleasantly surprised with how good Sonic was. It was really, really good.
Same.
It was
Wait,
really
have you
good.
watched it?
I have. I saw it.
What? I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. I was gone for a month and a half.
Oh, boo.
You watched it without
Going
me?
to Disney, watching
Every
movies.
single day.
Yeah,
woke
seriously,
up.
goes to Disney World without me.
Yeah, how
watches
much
Sonic
awesome
without
stuff did
me.
you do
I mean,
without us, you jerk?
I'm living a way of life in northern Minnesota. And
They're turning on you.
Yeah.
Well, no. So Chris and
He'll turn on us.
So
He's
Matt,
not
do you want a recurring weekly spot on this podcast?
Sign me up.
no, Chris yells at me every day and says, "Well, do you watch the podcast?" And I would say yes, and he's like, "No, you don't." So I was like, "All right, I'll just watch Sonic every day." I was too busy watching Sonic to watch the podcast. But no, I was blown away. It was a fantastic movie. It was really, really good. They did an excellent job with it.
I love Jim Carrey.
I love
Yes.
his part in the movie is fantastic. And then, you all know him as like the Eggman style. And of course, can Hollywood please stop with the after credits scenes? So Marvel set a precedence. I missed the after credit scene. Did you know there was one?
Don't tell me what it is.
I never leave until the logo like that says get the like, then I'll go. Like
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, no, but I just
Okay.
love Jim Carrey in general.
Gotcha.
As a person that makes film, isn't there a new isn't there a new Ace Ventura coming out?
It's unconfirmed.
Okay.
They said that they're working on them right now, but I want a mask. I want the mask too. That's what was denied me.
Yeah, not the son of the
90s.
mask. Ooh.
Yeah. Jamie Kennedy.
I've
no
never
good.
seen The Mask.
It's so good.
Like that
Whoa,
was.
what?
Need to
I
see the
know.
first
Okay,
one.
so there were a lot of movies that I was not allowed to watch. I didn't watch Ghostbusters until Jeremy and I were married.
Deprived.
Excuse me.
I know.
Oh,
we
actually,
weren't allowed to
wow.
watch them.
Another random tangent thing. So growing up, we had Ghostbusters 2, but we didn't have the original Ghostbusters, right? And I loved Ghostbusters 2, and I still love
Yes.
Ghostbusters 2. I didn't realize how much of the world does not like Ghostbusters 2 for some reason.
Same. Like
It
I
blows
didn't
my mind. It's
realize
like, it's
that
great.
until I was in college, because like I had both, and I always considered them equally good. Like I considered them two sides of one coin. And then not until I got into college did I start to hear that people didn't like 2, and I was like, well, that's that's weird, and it did make sense. I love 2. I would die for Ghostbusters 2.
A lot of people just like hating on sequels.
Yes, I think that's what it is.
Though. Like I literally, and it might just be like sort of the lens by which I experience them, but like the same thing. It's like I think it's as good as the first one. It's like it's the same characters are doing awesome, fun stuff, but it's different enough to be its own movie.
Exactly.
The time what when better could you ask for? I hate sequels when they switch up main characters. Like it's the same person, but played by a different actor. Oh. It's like
so you don't like James Bond then?
Well, sometimes they can't really get around it, but I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say just like in the prime of Disney, they should have never touched like Lion King 1.5 or Lion King 2.
Oh.
Honestly, they shouldn't have done a Frozen 2. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have done Cinderella 2. That should not have happened.
How do you have a sequel to that?
Yeah. Let alone Cinderella 3.
Wait, there's a third one?
Oh, man, yeah. 3 just retreads part 1, but they just flip it around. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And then some live actions should never have happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so Keith
you remember the Drew Carey Pinocchio, right?
No.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was like late 90s, early 2000s-ish era, like their first sort of foray into pulling a Disney classic animated film into the live action world.
I had no idea.
By the way, Lady and the Tramp shouldn't be a live action.
No,
movie.
that was horrible.
That's a horrible
was
movie.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, it was so bad.
CGI animals just bug me in general because it's like animals don't emote in the way like in Call of the Wild. The dogs like totally no, they don't do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get me to believe that.
Yeah, give me Homeward Bound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
So
Homeward Bound. Oh, that's
such a great movie. Oh, don't even.
Sassy can.
Oh, Kara.
Yeah.
Sassy is the driving force of that. Like she, keeps everyone on track.
She is an instigator.
Yeah, you need that,
But
And sorry, I was just
And you need a kitty. You need a kitty.
Yeah, you can't have
balance out-
all dogs.
Yeah.
But it'd be better if it was all dogs.
No.
I don't think so.
That's what all dogs go to heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Don Bluth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like dogs.
What a saint that guy.
Man, America's answer to the bad Disney era. Oh my goodness.
All in all, well, Chris, do you got anything else you want to?
Oh, I'm trying to run down. I think we hit most of the stuff that I want. Is there anything that you want to talk about? This is your shameless promotion time.
Yeah, okay. Well, I do have something else coming out soon. I am working on a second trailer for Ecto Cooler Resurgence.
Oh.
Because as much as you'll love the first trailer, I only kind of scratch the surface of what's going on. I don't get into the countdown and all that stuff. But trailer 2 will show all that and all the interview segments. We have our panel of Ghostbusters experts and Ecto Cooler experts who talk about the history of Ecto Cooler. And I expect to release that along with a new poster coming up this summer before Ghostbusters 3 comes out.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We did not even touch. I totally forgot. We just knew. We should touch on Afterlife.
We have an extra hour to talk about Ghostbusters 3. I'm totally fine with that.
Right. But yeah, I've seen the trailer for it.
Yeah, it looks
really
freaking
good.
awesome.
I don't know if I've
Yes.
seen the trailer. Is it the original cast from?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But they don't show them in the trailer, but you know that they exist.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, maybe I have seen like a little teaser, something or other, from a while ago. I don't know. Did you watch the one with the girls? I haven't seen that one.
That's not a Ghostbusters movie. Regardless of what some people might think, it's not a Ghostbusters movie.
I've heard really bad things about it. I just want to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Don't watch it ever.
My takeaway from it is like the original Ghostbusters films are adventure movies that happen to be funny, right? And this is like a comedy movie that tries to be an adventure movie. Like it's like they attacked it from the wrong vector, and it's just like how many jokes can we try and jam into this thing?
It's forced.
Instead of like how do we tell a good story with funny characters?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I sort of felt about it.
Another movie we can make Justin watch.
Yeah,
Yes.
punish
I'd
this
love
poor
to hear
man.
his take on that thing. Yeah.
He punished himself with a Star Wars holiday special.
All right. Well, so I suppose if you've made it this far into the video, you should probably give us a like. We've talked about all sorts of insane stuff that I never thought we would even broach on this Podcast. So subscribe if you're not already. Ring the notification bell. Check out all of the links in the description for Matt's various projects. And thank you guys for watching. Comment down below how you felt about Matt being on here, what type of stuff you want. He is just a wealth of knowledge. We're going to have him back, but only if you ask for him back. No, he'll have him back either.
Demand me.
But comment down below any type of thing that you want to see us doing in the future. We really appreciate it. And of course,
May the force be with you.